Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah and my roll number is 2021114 and I am currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Artificial Intelligence. I had the opportunity to intern at Chevron as a supply chain intern from June 3rd to July 26th to 2024. I'll give you an internship report of what I did. Over the course of my internship, I focused on four major projects, each designed to address specific needs within Chevron supply chain operations. I'll take you through each project, highlight the tasks I performed, the results achieved, and the challenges I encountered. First, we have the OE Power App issue report. My first project involved compiling a list of issues within the OE Power App, which is used for transactional data entry. This was a new technology adopted by Chevron quite recently. They had asked their Singapore Thailand division to make the app for them, and they wanted to test if the app performed similar calculations as compared to the older Excel versions of this functionality. So I did three main tasks for this. I entered data for June 2024 to identify any existing differences between the old technology and this new app. I compared the new Power App data with older Excel files and documented any inconsistencies. Lastly, I compiled these findings into a report along with recommendations for improving app functionality. The result I achieved was that we now, after a single iteration of going through my changes, we had a much more refined app that was easier to use. And the main challenge for this was accurately identifying and characterizing issues uh, because the data was quite large and I had to do much manual entry work. So I had to face many issues where I couldn't pinpoint why the issue was happening. So I had to do a couple of things again and again so that I could reach, so I could find why a single problem was happening. Second, I had the Copilot training for Chevron employees. The goal of this project was to train employees on using Microsoft Copilot for enhanced productivity. Recently, Microsoft launched Copilot for all its apps instead of a single LLM. Now, Copilot can be accessed from within the apps themselves, and Chevron was one of a few companies selected for this beta testing. So, I had to prepare training material, including slides and demonstrations, to make the session as informative as possible. I conducted a training session at Chevron's head office with over 50 employees in attendance, both on site and online. Additionally, I offered hands-on demonstrations and also separate classes to people who couldn't understand it after going through a single session. So I had to sit with them, had to teach them how to do certain things because most of the employees at Chevron were above a certain age where they couldn't adapt to technology quite fast enough. The result of this was that the training was highly successful, and the employees expressed that they had improved their productivity quite well after when we took their survey a week after this presentation. The challenge here was because I myself did not have access to Copilot, so I had to learn how to use Copilot through second-hand experience myself, and then teach this in a, I would say, in a proper formatted way to the people. Even though I myself do not have much experience with Copilot. The third main project was an updating of the machine and info flowcharts. I was tasked with updating machine and information flowcharts to align with our current processes because both of these flowcharts were last updated in 2016. So I had to first analyze the existing machines and information processes that we used and then compare them to the old ones. After I found out whatever has changed, I had to redesign the flowcharts to improve clarity and then update them to our current functionality. Also, I had to make them more modern because the old versions were plain text versions, and so I had to update them to make them easier to read and to make them better to look at. The result was that the final flowcharts were more visually appealing and could enhance the team's understanding of process workflows. This was especially useful for if new people were onboarded. So a new employee could quite easily see these flowcharts and then grasp what was happening overall in the whole plant and how the data could pass from one part department to another. The challenge here was finding a balance between the details of the actual process and how to display that information, I would say, in a summarized format to the reader. My last main project was a flushing volume reduction project in Chevron. After each batch of, I would say, lubricant has passed through a machine, we have to flush the new lubricant for around 600 or 1200 liters, so that the impure product, the product that is a mix of the old batch and the current batch, gets, I would say, thrown away. So I had to leverage machine learning to optimize our flushing volumes to reduce waste and cost. Because if you could drop that flushing volume from 1200 to, I would say, 600, or from 600 to 300, we would say half the money for whatever that amount of oil is being wasted. I was given a year's worth of data of flushing volumes, and we tested the oil after each 200 liter dumping of the oil. So I had a year's worth of data, around 630 rows of data. Uh, then I used machine learning KNNs and a simple DNN network to find what was the lowest possible volume for each product, for each possible permutation of the products that was being changed. After I created a model, I validated these findings through continuous testing, and after I found uh, KNN model that had an accuracy of 78%, I forwarded it to my manager, and then he ran a test for a week using our new volumes, and through that we saved around 25 lakhs worth of, I would say, oil over the week. The and this was quite a, I would say, a great result for Chevron, because there never had been a project related to AI in the plant itself. There had been projects related to AI in our HR, in our planning department, but never in our in the supply chain department. And the challenge was ensuring the accuracy and reliability of the model, because we only had 630 rows of data, which is quite small for any ML model. So I had to think of ways to how to change the data, how to, I would say, boost up the data by creating copies, by doing minor changes to the data and things like that. And these are all the skills I've gained. For the hard skills, the technical skills, I gained data entry and analysis. I gained discrepancy identification. I I found out how to create documentation. I found out how to test an app, and I worked on my presentation prep and delivery skills. For my soft skills, uh, I I learned how to pay attention to detail. I found how to solve problems with no set criteria, because often after my manager handed over the work to me, he didn't tell me how to do things, because he himself was a mechanical engineer and he didn't know the software side of things very well. So I had to find out through my own self how to do things. I found out how to communicate among large crowds, especially for my presentation. I found out how to make visually appealing designs that I would say are both optimal for ensuring delivery of information and for viewing. And I learned to think analytically. Instead of just going on a one path mind, I learned to think of, okay, this is a problem and this is how I can solve it, and then work in iterations. Thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to any questions you may have. You can easily email me. Thank you.